Yo guys, it's JJ, and as you can see by the surroundings, I am back home for Christmas, so excuse the setup. As you know by the title, today I'm going to be taking you guys through a new wave glow beat, especially for Chief Keef's new album, Finally Rich, the deluxe, the longer awaited deluxe of course. So without further ado, let's just get into this. First of all, what you need to know about Chief Keef is, or any new glow wave kind of artist, is the range in my opinion usually goes between like the 120s to the 140s. You could maybe push it a bit higher if you feel a bit adventurous, but that's a typical range in my opinion. And as you guys can see, I decided to go with the 140 BPM range for this video. First of all, for the melody, we got ourselves an instance of Expand 2, and we're using a preset called the Producer Brass, which is from the Brass and Woodwind Bank. As for the pattern, it's very simple, very straightforward, and as you can see, literally just this pattern, copy and pasted over. First of all I did was just use these notes here, created a little staggered pattern to create a nice little kind of vibe, and on top of that I used notes and tension a lot throughout the whole melody. Everything is a notes and tension, and then we're taking it back down to the root note of C. So quite simple and straightforward, but this is what the main component of the melody sounds like. And as you can see, sounding hard, sounding dark, exactly what we want. As for effect, I got myself a basic EQ here. Nothing much going on except a few highs and lows cut out. As for the reverb, of course, we got ourselves Valhalla Vintage Verb, and we're just using this kind of preset that I made for the mix. And then last but not least, as you can see, no stereo separation involved, just because I want the sound to be really much in your face. Next up, we got ourselves a sound, and it's a one shot, and it's literally just a bell perk. It's the kind of bell you hear in like Chief Keef, Yeet songs, you know what bell I'm on about. And first thing you need to know about the bell is I went down to the envelope option and I closed everything down except the hold. And what that makes it do is, as long as the note is playing, the note will play. But as soon as it goes past the point of no note, it will cut off. So as you can see, I've got these nice little like staggered sections I created here for the bell, and I feel like it gives it a nice little bit of an extra vibe going. And as you can see again, we're just following these notes that occur throughout the main melody. So without further ado, this is what the melody sounds like now. As you can see, super dope, super nice vibe, and just the bell alone brings the melody really much forward. So for the effects, we got ourselves another basic EQ going, a lot of the highs cut out, a lot of the lows cut out, and then on top of that, more Valhalla Vintage Verb. And I really wanted to drown out this bell, as you can see from the preset I correlated it to. And then to make that even more drowned out, I took it down to 100% stereo separation. That just makes the bell have this nice like outside ambient effect, and it just hits that extra bit harder in my opinion. Because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, the bell doesn't need to be the forefront of the beat. Sometimes just having it out wide just makes that extra bit. And now for the next melodic component, and this is what brings in that whole new wave kind of sound in my opinion, is we're using a preset from Nexus 2 called OR Dance Organ from the Classical Bank. And as you'll hear right now, it sounds very synthy, and that's the whole point of new wave glow, having that old style with some new synth sounds, and it just sounds super dope. So as you can see by the pattern, it's a nice little repeating one from G to a D sharp to a D, and I just copy and pasted it over. And then as you can see, because the notes are in tension and also G is part of that little tension part in the scale, it just makes it sound darker, and it really just helps with that whole Chief Keef sound. I've kind of cut out a few notes here, giving it a bit of a different bounce, added a few notes for the second half, bit of variation, but keeping it simple. And last thing I did was just click Alt-R to randomize the velocities, and that just makes it sound a bit more human. So without further ado, this is what it sounds like now. And there we have it. Now as for the effects, I've got myself a little bit of growth speed going on here, and I used the basic 8 preset. And then as you guys can see by the playlist, I've literally got this growth speed effect coming in once every half of the 4-bar loop section here. So comes in 2-bar, no effect, other 2-bar effect, no effect, effect. And that's what you hear throughout that melody, giving it that extra bit of variation. Next up, we got started a bit of EQing, and I cut off a lot of harsh frequencies I wasn't a fan of, a few of the highs and a lot of the lows. And then on top of that, we got started an instance of Valhalla Vintage Verb, and these are the presets I allocated to it. And then last but not least for this part of the melody, like it's a nice little kind of like ARP/repetitive synth, I stereo separated this only 60%, keeping it a bit wide but not too far out. And last but not least, for this new wave glow kind of beat melody, we got ourselves another instance of Nexus, and we're using a preset from the Fantasy and Dream Bank called SY, which stands for Synth, Undertaker 1. As you guys can see, Very simple counter melody being created, but like it's a synth, it also really helps with that nice new wave flow aesthetic. And by the looks of it, we got ourselves a lot of the notes which are a part of the whole tension thing in the scale, which is when notes are one second apart, just creating that extra bit of tension, which is how we get that nice dark sound, but also really helps with the whole glow aesthetic. So without further ado, this is what the full melody sounds like. And there you have it. And now you may be thinking, the melody sounds a bit clustered, which I do agree. However, throughout the whole course of the beat, I don't typically play everything together. So, for example, I might have this little art section playing for one part, take it out, then play this nice little counter melody here. It's just about spacing out the beat, making it sound good, but also leaving room for the artist, so always bear that in mind. Now, for the effects, all I actually did was just go onto gross beat and then use the quarter gates tool and then took the volume down to 40% mix, just giving it that nice little staggered effect, if you know what I'm saying, that you were hearing before. Just adds a lot to that glow aesthetic, and it really just takes it a long way. And then on top of that, all I really added was the EQ, calling off a lot of the lows, stuck in this one frequency, and then a few of the highs. Now, we are moving on to the drums, of course, and first thing we gotta go through is the clap pattern. Or in this instance, it's the clap/snare pattern. So as you can see, this is what I've come up with, and I'm going to walk you through it. But first thing you need to know, this is actually a layered sound, which is the Lex Luger slap clap and the Lex Luger snare just played together. So I'm assuming you both have those sounds, but if not, I've got a kit coming soon, so stay waiting. As for the pattern, as you can see, very simple clap pattern occurring, except I've got another note playing here. Then copy and pasted this whole section over and then created this nice little roll. And you may wonder how I created it. All I did was go on the magnet tool. Here and click quarter step. And as you can see, all these notes are part of it. So you may be wondering how I got this nice little roll thing going. And I'll show you quite quickly. Go into the magnet tool, go to half step, use the right click and then scroller wheel to go down to the paintbrush. Click the notes from the clap and then just scroll it over like this. And then once you've got that going, go down to the bottom section of the velocity, right click the top one, and then drag it down diagonally, creating, as you can see, this nice little build up in sound. So without further ado, this is what the clap/snare pattern sounds like. And there you have it. And it really sounds dope because when you have glow beats, you want to always have like a nice punchy snare, which just complemented super well. Next up, of course, we got ourselves the hi-hat pattern. And as you can see, it's quite basic, but I'm going to walk you through it. So first thing you guys want to do to achieve these rolls is go onto the magnet tool, go down the half step again, and then click one of these notes to get that. And then just drag it on here, as you can see, to get this nice little roll. As for this roll, honestly, it's just going on the magnet tool again, one step, and then just dragging it across. And then I just made use of the half magnet tool and the normal step tool, and then just got these nice little rolls going, as you can see. And then again, as I said, just copy and paste it over, and there you have it. So this is what the drum pattern sounds like now. And there you have it. Sounding super dope, super glow-esque, and of course the new wave sound implemented for Chief Keef's new album. Now for the 808 pattern, of course, all we did was just follow the root notes, which is pretty much the notes of the horns. Got myself this nice little pattern going. And of course, we're making use of the spins 808 because it's the hardest 808 about. And then just for a bit of variation, just added these little 3 808s. And then the last thing you need to do before you ever do anything else with your drums, especially your 808s and kicks, max your velocities out. I repeat this every video. It's super important. Make sure your kicks hit harder, your 808s hit harder, and it really makes your trap beats just sound that much better. So without further ado, all you need to do is click Control A, and then use your right scroller wheel to scroll to the max and achieve that position. That'll just make it sound so much harder, and you'll hear it right now when the drums play. And there we have it. As for effects on the 808, all I actually had was just a pretty fast distort on the default preset, and then just made it look like this on the preset. Next up, of course, we got to have the kick pattern, and all I did was just follow the 808 pattern, lay it over, and max the velocities. So this is what it sounds like now with the kick. as you can hear, with the max velocities and the kick in 808, it just makes it hit that much harder. And it's exactly what you want for the artist and of course producers. And of course, last but not least, to complete the drums, all I've got myself is a nice little crash. Repeats every 4 bars just to add a little bit of oomph on top. And now, without further ado, this is what the drum pattern sounds like for, of course, that new wave glow beat. And there we have it. So you've officially made it to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. And of course, you know we're on the road to 600, trying to achieve that by New Year's. So please help us out. And of course, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.